let us dive in. Let me share my screen so that everybody can see what I'm looking at. Can I just get a verbal or visual confirmation that you see on the screen? It says Congregation Darchei Noam B Mitzvah Handbook. Jessica,
Yep.
thank
Yeah,
you.
we see it. We see it.
Oh, thank you, Josh, for the verbal. Thank you, buddy. So here is our program. I said this a little bit before, but I'll share it for the recording as well. Mazel tov on reaching this moment. It is a beautiful thing to be able to have you join us at this point in the process. Becoming a B mitzvah is something that is unbelievably meaningful. It is something that we take deep care in our community. It is a beautiful and holy process, not just for the kid who is actually becoming a bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, or a B mitzvah, but it's actually important for the whole family, and is a beautiful moment in which we acknowledge the beauty of the entire family unit and coming to this moment. And we'll talk a whole lot more about that in a little bit. So this first part is just to say thank you, and that this process is a beautiful thing for the kids and for the parents, and can also sometimes be stressful and can sometimes be not so clear. Our hope and our goal in this program is to make sure that you have all the pieces of information that you need in order to make this process and this program successful. So this booklet will serve as that, but also myself and Rabbi Tina will obviously serve as resources at any point in the journey. We try our best to make sure we lay it out nice and clear, and there's always something that we miss, and so we're always happy to be in constant conversation, and that's what we do. And so that's on behalf of myself, and Rabbi Tina is here, but you'll also see here, you will hear very shortly, we just hired a director of multi-generational engagement, someone who is going to join onto our team. You'll hear more about that in a little bit, but certainly by the time this video is out, it will be known, and you'll get to meet this wonderful person who is joining our team to be a part of this child and family engagement program. So, what is a B mitzvah? And again, most of you have been through this and you know this, but I want to ground us in this moment anyway to just acknowledge what this is, which is an affirmation of Jewish learning, a celebration in community, and a recognition of a change in Jewish status, right? When you turn 13, it says in our Torah and in our books, right, you become a Jewish adult by nature of becoming 13. There is no need to do anything else other than to turn 13 and to begin taking on responsibilities. And we take, at this point, there is an opportunity to be able to provide ritual framing, to provide an opportunity for our young students and learners to build Jewish knowledge in community, and to be able to do some meaningful work to do a beautiful thing, which is ultimately, among many things, to read from our Torah, our sacred scroll that's been passed down from thousands and thousands of years, from generation to generation. And we are just honored that we get to do that. And so, what I want to make sure is clear on this call is that at Darchei Noam, inclusivity and belonging are values that are reflected in every single part of the B Mitzvah process. And there are many ways. I've listed three, but there are a whole bunch in which we do our best to be as inclusive and as accessible and accepting as we can. Some of that looks like supporting every child's learning needs. So we plan a process and a ceremony that meet the social, emotional, and learning needs of your child. So no matter who they are, what they navigate in their day-to-day life, whatever extra needs that they may need, we've got you, and got you covered. That is something that we take very seriously, and that has looked like lots of different things. We really pride ourselves on tailoring a process and a journey and a ceremony that is reflective of your child and your family and what the many needs may be. And so we make sure we take care of that. As you can tell, we use the term B mitzvah. It is a non-binary gender neutral term to include all students as well as when referring to multiple bar or bat mitzvahs. And so it is, no matter what your gender is, we acknowledge that you are becoming a Jewish adult. All of that is wonderful. So no matter how you identify or how your child identifies, it is a small way in which we can name and acknowledge that we care about you. And if there's ever at any point a need for more information, for more learning, I provide a link to Keshet's website, who defines this gender neutral naming as a part of the B mitzvah ceremony very, very clearly. And so this, again, not my term, this comes from experts in the field. And so wanted to make sure I share that here as well if you want to learn more. We offer opportunities for your whole family to participate in the ceremony as your child becomes bar mitzvah, regardless of Jewish status. We recognize that there are folks for whom are part of Jewish families, even though not all of the members of the family themselves have a Jewish status. We do our absolute best to open the tent as much as possible to provide opportunities for members of your family for whom don't hold a Jewish status but are certainly a part of your Jewish community and Jewish family to be able to give them roles within our service and to be able to have them feel like they are included and a part of. We really do pride ourselves on having our bar mitzvah ceremonies feel accessible for everybody, regardless of whether you've gone to cheder in Jewish school for many, many years, or whether this is the first time you're entering in through the doors of a synagogue. We try, and usually we succeed, I think. At least that's the feedback we get, of making sure that no matter who's walking through the door, everyone feels like they are a part of our ceremony. And so that is something that we want to make sure that we name and do our best to ensure that that happens. All right. What I provided you here is a timeline. And so for some of you, this timeline is already off, and that's totally okay. For some of you, you've already been a part of the journey. Again, this is in a scope of a general timeline. Obviously, as said before, we work with you to ensure that we care for the needs as cared for by as needed by your child. And so again, I leave a schematic for you. It is not a one size fits all. We tailor it to each child, but generally, this is how it goes. So spring of grade 5, you attend this wonderful information session. So congratulations if you're there. Check. Done. For the fall of grade 6 and 7, you will begin the bar mitzvah program. You will notice, and for most of you, this probably isn't a surprise, but just in case anyway, for the past many years, we have held our Hebrew school and bar mitzvah program on Sunday. As of September, we are moving the program to Saturday to happen on Shabbat, which is such a gift. And again, not a decision I make on my own, but alongside my senior rabbi, Rabbi Tina, and with the Child and Family Engagement Committee. We have worked really hard this year to ensure that that happens. So the program will meet 9:30 to 12:30 the same time, but on Saturdays to incorporate our bar mitzvah students, our Hebrew school, our teen program into the community where most of us are spending time together, and to give us an opportunity to actually learn on Shabbat, to experience it live in the building at its time. On Sundays, there's only so much you can do to pretend that we're spending time together on Shabbat. We want to make sure that we do the real thing. So Saturdays, 9:30 to 12:30. Between 9 to 12 months before, we're going to recommend that you come and join a bar mitzvah service. That won't be hard because we're all already there. But so whether at Dar Chinom or at another synagogue, we have many parents for whom I talk with, and they often say, we went to this other bar mitzvah at a different synagogue. Oh my goodness, that was so cool. There's a really great idea. And we bring it in and we make it happen. And also we get families who say, oh, we went to this other synagogue and thank goodness we're doing it this at Dar Chinom. All of that is good. But again, the goal of this is to allow for your family and your child to experience a service in which a bar mitzvah, a bat mitzvah, or a bar mitzvah is happening so that they can see themselves as a part of the process. And again, we do it 9 to 12 months before so that we do this well in advance so that your child can begin feeling comfortable and prepared as much as we can. That's the goal. You will also meet with Rabbi Lesner, that's me, to discuss goals for the service, tutoring. We'll make sure we get that process started at that time, and at Tzedek Project. I have more to say about what the Tzedek Project is. You're going to attend Shabbat services. You're going to attend a minimum of 4 services, which again, will not be hard because all of you will be there on Shabbat. And we, as a part of our Shabbat school, we will ensure that students are coming in and out of the services as needed. Won't be hard. But we make that expectation anyway for all of you to join. We will make sure that at a minimum of 6 months before you'll begin your tutoring process, we offer in-house tutors as a part of becoming a part and registering for our bar mitzvah program. Tutoring, right, is an extra cost, but is a part of the program. And so you will pay us, and that will take care of our tutors. We have beautiful, wonderful tutors who have done such incredible work. Some of you know this very well because your children have been the beneficiaries of their work. But we'll make sure we get that process going, again, with whatever needs are needed. About 3 months before, I check in with families about many things. One of those things being the Tzedek Project, which I'll share more about in a moment. The B Mitzvah coordinator, which is really either me or our director of multi-generational engagement, will contact you with a link to a rehearsal/honors checklist. This is an opportunity for you and your family to be able to see what opportunities there are for you all to participate within the service. Again, opportunity to discuss Kiddush details, accessibility, technology, access to the building, all those sorts of things. So you can reach out sooner. This thing that is here, I'm glad we do it, a link to pay the B Mitzvah fee. You will have done that well before, and I'll share more about that in just a moment. I'm making a note about that. So that is that. See, we're going on the fly. It's a beautiful thing. About 8 to 12 weeks before, you're going to set up a meeting with me and your child and any family who wants to be a part. Parents are welcome to join as well. We are going to make sure that we go over lots of different things. One is an overview of the Simcha itself and confirm that Torah is being learned. If Haftorah is a part of the process, that's ready to go. Devar Torah is something that we'll check in about to make sure that we have at least a rough draft. And then we work collaboratively on the Devar Torah. And again, a note about Divrei Torah is that we are going to offer plenty of opportunities well before this with Devar Torah workshops, opportunities to learn directly from Torah portions. So this is not something that happens at 8 weeks. This is something that happens well before, but the actual work on making sure that we formulate and have a concrete Devar Torah being worked on will happen at about this time. So I wanted to make sure that that is noted. Then, 1 to 2 weeks before, there will be a rehearsal. Generally, I offer this wonderful time slot on Tuesday afternoons. Rarely does that work for families. And so again, we make sure that we do it about 10 days before to give ourselves lots of time to make sure that all the details of the B Mitzvah are cared for. And this is the part when I ask our families to make sure that they have a completed rehearsals and honors checklist. And in fact, I'm going to open it up right here so you can see it on the screen. What it is our honors. So we offer our families an opportunity to open the Ark. Parents get an opportunity to present their child with a talit. We have 3 opportunities for aliyot. So if you want to honor your family members to come up and give an aliyah to the Torah. If your family wants to read from the Torah, again, we are very flexible and want to honor your family in lots of different ways, but also want to manage expectations. We don't need a family member to read lots of Torah, but if that was a part of what would make this ceremony very special, and there's a family member who's willing, please and thank you. You'll see Hag Ben Galila, these are Torah honors, reading the prayer for Israel or Canada, Vishamru, Kiddush, Motzi, etc. These are all opportunities in which we are very delighted to include your family members as a part of it. And so we'll make sure that at that rehearsal, that is final. That way we can let our Parnas, sort of the person who runs our Torah service, make sure that they're aware of who all these people are. They'll be in touch with you, make sure things are smooth. And again, then we arrive at the day of. You'll arrive 30 minutes before the service. You make sure you bring all of your things to Darchei Noam, students talit, kippah, any materials that they need, a Devar Torah, Haftorah, any extra sheets, things that you're thinking about that I don't know about, whatever it is, and then you arrive. And then we have a beautiful simcha. How does that sound? I'm seeing nods from Rabbi Tina. That's good enough for me. And that's wonderful. So again, just to name this beautiful little schematic, does not need to be so strict if that is not what is necessary, but to give you a sense of sort of our timetable and what we're thinking about and what has worked over the last few years. This seems to be a really sweet little spot to make sure that we get everything nice and organized so that things are clear. Cool. So I'm going to continue along. Obviously, any questions you have, you can let me know, and we'll have time afterwards to make it happen. So I'll say brief. I don't know that it's so brief, but I'll try to make it brief. Preparation and requirements. And so what I'll say to you is that our B Mitzvah preparation will engage students in 3 pillars of Jewish life: Torah, prayer, and acts of kindness. Students are going to learn Torah. They're going to engage with prayer. They're going to complete a tzedek project. All those 3 things are very important and integral to the process. While we will have specific expectations for our students as they approach this moment, we treat each of our B Mitzvah as individuals, and we are always happy to customize these expectations, but I'll name them here. So first and foremost, starting in grade 6, B Mitzvah class sessions. Students should be enrolled in our B Mitzvah program If they are not enrolled in our B Mitzvah program, they can also be enrolled in an equivalent program. For example, we have had people that over the past year, they did a B Mitzvah program through Shoresh. We said, great, what a lovely thing to be able to be at Shoresh. We highly, highly recommend you hang out with us. We are very proud of our program. We love what we do. And for other students for whom different accommodations need to be made, we ask that they are in an equivalent type of program. Again, the bulk of our sessions will happen on Saturday mornings from 9:30 to 12:30. We talk about Jewish identity, Hebrew literacy, development in decoding Hebrew, and developing fluency with key prayers, understanding key words, key concepts of Jewish life. We have done a serious overhaul of this program to ensure that there is a focus on Torah trope in class, not just in tutoring. And so that students will feel very confident and begin the work with individual tutors leading up to the B Mitzvah, already feeling like they have some sort of foundation, which helps not only our students feel confident, but also helps with our tutoring. With that, let's talk about tutoring. Approximately 9 months before their B Mitzvah, but again, that timetable can vary depending on the student's needs, you'll begin working with an individual tutor, which we will pair you up with. If you have a tutor for whom you think is really phenomenal and they are not known to us in our community, by all means, I'm very happy to work alongside them. But if you don't, no stress. We have plenty of people at Dar Chinom who are happy to work alongside you. We provide them for you. And again, this is an extra cost that goes along with the program, which we'll talk about in a moment. And it's just a wonderful program. I get to walk in and hear about all the tutors and what they do with our students. And it's just such a lovely one-on-one process to make sure that they are feeling good, accomplished, and again, that their needs are being met. Our tutors are very good at customizing this experience and ensuring that no matter what their Hebrew learning level is at, which again, we get a wide diversity of levels, students for whom are very fluent with Hebrew have, like in some cases, already read Torah, and students who have never looked at Hebrew before. We deal with both of those, and all of our kids end up successful and feel proud of all the accomplishments that they make. So that's B Mitzvah tutoring. I noted service attendance before, right? We require students to come to a minimum of 4 services so that they can see what a B Mitzvah is like and feel confident in the service. This will be really easy because Saturday mornings are a beautiful opportunity to bring our children into the service. I'll make a note about a Divrei Torah. So in addition to reading Torah, probably the biggest chunk and component that's important to us is making sure that they give a Devar Torah, literally translated to a word of Torah. What that means is taking thousands of years of Jewish history, taking it into themselves, into their own hearts, understanding the words of Torah that they are reading, and then giving new perspective. And so what I'm going to show you on the screen. We have all of this for you ready to go. Devar Torah resources. And again, this is like preliminary. There is much more to be able to share with you. Mostly like your specific, we have resources for your child's specific Torah portion once we book a date, etc. But what I want to share with you is sort of our template and outline, and this comes from Kol Tzedek. It's a synagogue, it's a Reconstruction synagogue in Philadelphia. They are wonderful. And they put this together. Why reinvent the wheel? What a Devar Torah is. Studying the Parsha so that every child understands exactly what they are reading and what the summary of their portion is. We make sure that they ask 5 questions. I'm sure they will have more. What is interesting to you about this Torah portion? What are things that you would like to explore more? Once we establish what those questions are, that will end up being the bulk of what the Devar Torah is about. And so what we want to make sure we write about is what excites you, what bothers you, what questions do you have? We want your child, the B Mitzvah, to be able to feel like they are a part of a lineage of Jewish history. And so when we develop a list of questions, we then go to the Torah to see if there are any answers. We go to interpretations all throughout. We can go to commentary on the Torah from the 12th century to the 16th century to the 18th century, even to the 21st century. We can go to the Mishnah, we can go to the Talmud, we can go anywhere to be able to see, are there other places in Jewish tradition that have answers to the questions that I'm asking? And just as important as that is making sure that each student comes up with their own interpretation, their own teaching, their own lesson that they would like to bring to our community. As Jewish adults, an important part of this process is ensuring that they not only understand things for themselves, but that they come and teach. We share at our B Mitzvah service that may the student continue to be a teacher to you, We want to make sure that they feel confident in deciphering and learning our sacred texts so that they can continue to be teachers and come back to us, continue to give Divrei Torah this coming week. If you all want to be around for our acknowledgement of Pride Month, we're having a Pride Shabbat. One of our former B Mitzvah students is coming to share a Devar Torah about their own relationship with Judaism as someone who identifies as trans. And so this is a really beautiful thing to be able to offer, not just for this moment, but also in the future as we continue to grow. So I'll leave that there. And all these resources are available. Again, you click this link, you have full access to this. I'll make sure I send it to you, and it's also on our website. Home stretch. We're almost there. Thank you for sticking with me. I'm excited to hear your thoughts and reflections and questions. So we talked about Devar Torah. Let's talk about Torah reading. We expect each of our students to be able to read a minimum of 3 verses, sometimes 4 verses, depending on what the maftir aliyah. So the last aliyah that comes in our scheduled Torah reading is usually the aliyah that we reserve for our B Mitzvah students. That being said, if a student would like to read more Torah, by all means, there is no maximum requirement of how much Torah, but we do ask that, and 1 aliyah is the minimum. And again, chanting additional verses, adding Haftorah to it. There is an expectation that Haftorah is read, although depending on the student and the needs, Haftorah is a beautiful addition, and sometimes is just not quite able to get done with the other things that we expect, and that's okay. Again, it is a high encouragement. We encourage it, but recognize the different needs of each child and each learner. And sometimes that's not the case, but a minimum of 1 aliyah of Torah is what we require. And again, leading prayers. As a part of our B Mitzvah process, our kids are not just going to be learning Torah, they're actually going to be engulfed in prayer. And so what you'll see down here, in preparing themselves to be Shaliach Tzivor, Shlichei Tzivor, messengers of the community, we provide opportunities for them to lead essential prayers of Judaism, Sheman Ve'ahavta, to lead Vishamru, Kiddush, and Motzi. You'll see these are sort of the blessings and opportunities, ritual moments, and liturgical moments that we offer for our children. Sheman Ve'ahavta, a Talit presentation for our parents. The children will learn, our students will learn the Talit blessing. There is a blessing that you learn when you put on a Talit. They'll give a Devar Torah, Torah blessings before and after, again, for our students, but also for our parents, for our grandparents, for siblings, for anybody who you would like to honor as part of your family unit. We've got Torah blessings before and after. Haftorah blessings, Haftorah itself. And if there's any need for additional, which is not required, but certainly a lovely thing, if there's a student who feels really keen and excited about learning more, we can give lots more Torah, would be delighted to share. They can lead the Torah service. They can lead Birchot HaShachar, blessings that you say in the morning. They can chant portions of the Amidah, lead Adon Olam. Again, prayer opportunities throughout our service that we would certainly be delighted to have anybody come and join us for, but are not required. And so again, you'll see there's a maximum invitation while recognizing that there are many different needs of all of our students. And so I'll leave that there. I believe there's just a few more things to talk about. Our Tzedek project. I grew up in a world in which I had to do a tzedakah project where I had to go somewhere and do some work. And again, I worked at a beautiful retirement center. I loved it. It was a very sweet process, but I had to do 10 journal entries and I had to share it, and it didn't click. And I did some research about what other synagogues do, and they do this. They say, do something. Do something. The idea is that, tikkun olam, the idea that by doing acts of service, we can repair the world, is an essential part of what it means to be a Jewish person. And we certainly want to instill that. And so to this end, we ask that each student provide us with and be engaged in a tzedek project. Tzedek is a Hebrew word for justice or righteousness. Preparing to be a Jewish adult means that you got to do important Jewish things, and we got to actually do it. We can't just sit and talk about it. We need to actually put our thoughts and our prayers and our ideas into action. And so we invite each of our students to do a tzedek project. It allows, what this is supposed to allow is an opportunity for students to focus on their own unique skill set and to create time in their day to do something that is meaningful for them. I will meet with each family to make sure that there is something that is specific and important for the child and for the student and for members of your family. And again, there's been lots of variety of what you can do, and I'll show you in a minute. But we also offer that this isn't just for the student. This is also for the parents. This can be for grandparents. This can be for siblings. Like this can be for anybody and everybody. Doing things, you'll note, as a part of our process, it is never just about the child. I often say at the Bar Mitzvah rehearsal to our Bar Mitzvah student, I say, this is all about you and all for you, and we're here to celebrate you. And it also has nothing to do with you and has everything to do with a part of where you came from and who you surround yourself with and who your community is. And so to that end, at any point in this journey, we want to make sure that the family is also included. And so what you will notice is I just put together, fresh off the press, a tzedek project. There's a form here, but what I want to focus on is to choose a tzedek project, what should you be doing? Well, how do I make this decision? Students should ask themselves, what would they like to do? What am I good at doing? What bothers me about the world? And what are the ways in which I want to change it? And where are places in Toronto or anywhere else I want to go? Where can I go and do this? Who are people I'm connected with? Who do I know? And how do I do this? And so what we offer here, I have a list of organizations who, again, I am connected with, but Darchei Noam has been connected with for a very long time. Between Mazon, Jayus, Rena, Jax, Ve'ahavta, the Battelle Center, Chai Lifeline, Baycrest, right? All these places have opportunities for our students to be able to participate. I've also provided donation-based organizations like United Chesed. UJA always looks for places. If there's somebody, we have lots of people who have wanted to, donate their time to an animal shelter. Here are some organizations we've worked with before. Here are hospitals who are always looking for donations, etc. And what I will also say is Darchei Noam's Chesed Committee is a really wonderful place where it's a committee of folks who do really beautiful, meaningful work. What that could look like is coming and donating time as part of our, oh my God, the name is escaping me, Holy Knitters Knitting Club. The name is escaping me, but as part of the Chesed organization, right? They knit scarves and items for new babies and provide blankets for folks who are unhoused. They do beautiful work. There is no shortage of opportunity. And again, you could probably add to this list.
I think it's Ryan, I think it's pins and needles.
Pins and needles. There you go. I knew it had something to do with that. Again, that's my partner's domain. You do not want me anywhere near any pins or any needles. That is not for me. So again, I give you a list of all these organizations as a place to start and places that we've been connected to before. By all means, we would love new places and new organizations that do really amazing work in Toronto. And again, it doesn't also have to be with an organization. We've had Bar Mitzvah students who have baked cookies and have gone to hand them out. We've had people donate to a big sale. We don't want to quantify or qualify we don't want to quantify what you have to do. It doesn't have to be 10 sessions at a place. It doesn't have to be it just has to be something that feels meaningful and glorious and righteous for your child and for your family. Right? It can be as small as donating one time, going with Ve'ahavta, going on the van an evening to serve and care for people who are unhoused. What I'll also share is that I spoke to a family recently for whom their bat mitzvah project was to go and donate their time for out of the cold, first interfaith out of the cold. And they've been doing it once a month every year since their bat mitzvah. This person just turned 40. This is also a beautiful opportunity for your child at 13 years old to be able to connect with an organization that will be a lifelong connection and connect yourself to beautiful work that's happening in Toronto. All of it is on the table. So I'll leave that there as a resource for you. There's also, right, using your event as a vehicle for Tikkun Olam. There's lots of ways in which the Bar Mitzvah service, specifically when you think about Kiddush, there are opportunities to also think about ways to do righteous work for the world. And I leave that there for you to look at on your own. The only other thing I want to share, which I already shared anyway, is our honors and service planning. Just to reiterate this point, we make sure that the whole family unit is involved and cared for. We provide opportunities for family to have honors throughout the service. What I always say to my families is that it is not a requirement to fill out every single honor. That is not the goal or the requirement. There are opportunities that you're welcome to take. Some families take all of these honors. Some families take very few of these honors, and that's okay. The beauty of having a Bar Mitzvah Darchei Noam is that we have a very rich, committed, and dedicated community for all for whom they could do any of these at the drop of a hat. What the opportunity is for your family, if they so wish to be honored, to think about the ways in which they would like to be honored. And so for those who would like to do Hagbeh, which is a very intense honor that always scares people, but when they do it, it's always well done, right? That is a beautiful opportunity for someone for whom that honor would serve them best. If there's no one in the family for whom they would like that honor, that's totally okay. We have people in our community who can do that. And so it's a maximum invitation with minimal expectation. It is not your requirement to make sure that these honors get filled. It's an opportunity if you'd like to take it. And that's our B-Mitzvah process. So I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and just share one more thing that is important to name, which is that in the past, our B-Mitzvah process and our Hebrew school has been something in which you pay for a la carte for each year. You sort of, pay a registration fee, etc. For this coming year, starting September of 2025, we are encouraging and requiring for anybody who is joining our Hebrew School program or our B-Mitzvah program, we are requiring you to become members. For some of you, that's not going to make a difference. For some of you, that may be a little bit of a shift, and that's okay. The reason we are doing this and got this passed is because we want to place our values along with our vision. What happens is when you become a member of Darchei Noam, you are committed to community, which means high holiday services, access to programs, access to Kiddush, right? Like we provide all of this for you as a way to say you belong with us and we care about you very deeply. When you become a member of Darchei Noam, the shift that is now happening is that previously you could be a member of Darchei Noam and you would have to pay Hebrew school fees or tuition. With membership, Hebrew school is free. The B-Mitzvah program is almost free, with the exception of tutoring costs, which is an extra component of our program. It's free. And so for some of you, this isn't going to change anything at all. For some of you, this is going to actually save you money. And for some of you, you may be paying a little bit more. But we wanted to name this from the outset so that you know where we're placing our values, which is to say that if you are a part of our school, you are a part of our community, and we want to place the values and vision of our Darchei Noam, of this beautiful Reconstructionist community that cares so deeply about our young families. When you become members, we provide you with education. We provide you with opportunities to be connected. So that is what September 2025 looks like. And I'm very excited about this. It's a really exciting, beautiful, meaningful journey. And there's been a lot of work, not just on my end, but with Rabbi Tina and our board and our Child and Family Engagement Committee to really make sure that we hone in on what is important about this process, which is valuing and centering our families and our students and ensuring we give them an incredible moment in which they can feel proud, part of community, connected to their history, understanding their own Jewish identity, all the things that you named at the beginning of this session as part of your hopes. And so that's that. At this point, I'm going to stop the recording.